I just wanted to say that this is truly the fastest adventure class motorcycle available. Wait, luckily this isn't sponsored at all, so I can comfortably have an Aprilia backpack. I wanted to say that this was supposed to be the absolute fastest touring adventure motorcycle in its entire class, but it turns out that the truly fastest touring adventure motorcycle in this very same class is actually a Moto Guzzi with an idiot from Siedlce at the handlebars. But riding behind the idiot from Siedlce on the Moto Guzzi, I hit the gas and overtook him spectacularly. I overtook him spectacularly pretty quickly. And then I thought, damn, this Moto Guzzi isn't that slow. And then I realized I was riding in urban mode. And actually now I'll say, hi, it's me, Andrzej, because people say that if I don't say, hi, it's me, Andrzej, it doesn't count. And I'm already kind of sick of it. Hi, it's me, Andrzej.
And unfortunately, I'm Mariusz.
Hi, it's me, Andrzej. And this is...
And unfortunately, Mariusz.
Anyway, this motorcycle is the first machine I've ridden where I actually used the urban mode. Normally, motorcycles, various kinds have riding modes here. Here, you go in, you have riding modes, and usually the urban ones are useless because they have limited power. But this one, it doesn't work. Or maybe it's because it's a Ducati?
Maybe it's because you have the key in your backpack?
No, the key is here. There's a mode, and usually urban is just completely useless. But this time it turns out it's the only useful riding mode when this motorcycle has limited power. Because when it's got the full 170 horsepower, I just can't. I already wrote in my review of the KTM Super Adventure S that this is not a bike for idiots, and it's not for me. And this one, it's even worse. 170 horsepower. And it's not even about the fact that it's 170 horsepower, and that's a lot of power. The thing is, the V4, the 4 cylinders, rev up faster than 2 cylinders, and that power just hits like this. Oh, let me show you how it hits. You don't even realize when you're going fast.
If you turned off the display, you'd be riding at German Autobahn speeds. Very, very fast.
Exactly, that's the problem. This motorcycle accelerates so quickly that you don't even realize when you're going very, very fast. Look how it revs up. And it revs up just as quickly when a gear is engaged and you're riding on the street.
That's why the Hayabusa stops making sense. Because fast touring doesn't require a Hayabusa.
You really don't need a Hayabusa at all. I don't even know what the top speed of this motorcycle is. It's definitely something ridiculous. Maybe we need to go to Wench with this bike as well, just to check it. Because once I twisted the throttle, you know, just on a straight, I gave it gas. A forest road, you know, empty, a dead end. So I thought I'd just give it some gas. And only later, watching the GoPro footage, did I realize I was going 200 km per hour there for a moment. I'm convinced that this motorcycle accelerates to 200 just as quickly as those super bikes, those 1-liter sport bikes from a few years ago. And compared to the current ones, it's really not much slower. Because the first 2 gears so, and that's also very funny and interesting, you probably didn't have a chance to notice, maybe because you didn't ride it long enough, but this is one of the few motorcycles that accelerates just as fast, or even faster, in 3rd gear than in 2nd or 1st. Because I'm almost certain that it has limited power and torque in 1st and 2nd gear, just like the Panigale V4 does. So I bet they've done the same thing here. And you do it like this, 1st gear, whoop, 2nd gear, whoop. But then you shift into 3rd. And that's when it's really whoa.
That's true.
And
It's a V4.
Number?
From the Panigale.
Well, not exactly, because it's the V4 Gran Turismo, but it is...
But it's a V4 and it has 170 horsepower. But that power is just so delightfully crazy.
Delightfully crazy. And the ease with which it gains that power is just like with the previous Multistrada. I used to say it was like a GT Gran Turismo, that last one was called. I had the feeling comparing it to a car like it was a Porsche. You know, like it's this cool unassuming thing, but when you give it some gas, it just goes. And here I feel like it's more of a Ferrari or something, because it was always kind of crazy, senseless, but at the same time exciting. The motorcycle itself also looks pretty good, and that's something... Oh! and that's I-10. This is also a very important thing when it comes to the engine. I'm curious whether it's about this particular unit or another one, because with this motorcycle, we mostly rode in a stop-and-go style, I guess. Brake, gas, brake. Just your typical classic idiot. And when I had the chance to ride this motorcycle at a steady speed, I kept feeling like I was riding like it was doing this. These micro movements, to the point where I wasn't even sure if I was really feeling it, but now I'm sure that I did, and others can confirm it too. If any of you have ridden the Multistrada V4, tell me, did you also feel that this motorcycle can't maintain steady revs?
Either it's the radar's fault or the throttles aren't synchronized.
I actually think it's a matter of engine tuning, because when I turned off the radar, the active cruise control, since it generally worked fine, it would even break the motorcycle for me. Everything was cool, but even when I was riding just on the throttle without cruise control, it kept doing this sort of thing, like a slight fluctuation in the revs. But you ride and you really feel it. And it's the same with the chassis, because the previous one had a trellis frame and it was super stiff. And you just dove into a corner and you didn't care about it at all. This one, in the initial phase of the turn, feels lighter. It turns more easily. But in the corners, it's not as planted. I mean, let's be clear, these are micro differences, because this motorcycle is still very fast in the corners and handles them well, but the other one was really planted and very stable, while this one, just a little bit. It's the same as with the Panigale V4 when you ride it on the track. It
moves around.
It's always moving, and it's not moving to make things difficult for you, but to maintain traction. So these are good movements, but if you're not used to them, it just feels a bit strange.
Speaking of traction, there's a lot of traction here.
There's a lot of traction and a lot of excitement, and
I'm too dumb for this.
Me too. That's why this is a motorcycle for sensible people who will never really open up the throttle on it, or only do so occasionally. Not like, I don't even want to say how many times I rode this bike today.
Breaking the law.
To hell with it. But coming back to the stiffness, to the frame, I don't know if it's better or worse, it's just a bit different. That's really a matter of personal opinion. I'd be very happy to take this motorcycle and the previous Multistrada and maybe go all out with them. Hi Daniel Bukowski, you have the latest one, so maybe we could meet up and ride together, compare how it feels, to really get a direct comparison from one to the other. But dear Mariusz, what's also important is that thanks to this more flexible aluminum frame, which is more responsive to movement, and the suspension, which is the same semi-active system in this motorcycle, in my opinion, it works much better here than it did in the previous one. Yesterday I was riding through Campinos, and first I hit some cobblestones, and then these ruts just, like a minefield, just, hole after hole. And there were cars going bump, 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 bump. And I was riding here, I stood up on the pegs and just kept going. And it was just smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth, smooth. Awesome. Really, when it comes to absorbing bumps, this motorcycle is, I think, at least these are my first impressions. And I haven't ridden the previous one for a year, but it seems to me that it's better and there are fewer whirring noises, because the previous one made quite a lot of sounds when you were riding. And surprisingly, there's also more legroom here. But at the same time, this motorcycle will be completely useless off-road, because it has 4 cylinders.
But on the other hand, it does have phone charging. It has phone charging. And you know what I tried to do? I managed to, before the trip, I tried to turn on navigation on my phone.
Oh, it's good that there are IT specialists. Is it safe to ride around with a tablet stuck to this motorcycle? Because now I have all these navigation systems here and I wanted to turn it on. I thought I'd use navigation, but it turned out that it's probably not unlocked here yet, because there was a little padlock icon on the navigation. But I managed to cleverly connect my phone, and I didn't have a Bluetooth headset connected to my helmet because I despise them. But I kept getting notifications. My phone kept connecting via Bluetooth, showing me who was calling. And you know what I liked about it? That I knew who I was rejecting, and most importantly, that I could reject them at all.
I reject everyone because I hate using the phone on a motorcycle.
Exactly. When you're riding a motorcycle and it vibrates in your pocket, you have to grab it.
And check it.
Either to check or to press that button on the side to mute it and, just like that, reject it.
My Moto Guzzi has that option, but for an extra charge. But it's Italian too. But for...
Your Moto Guzzi, Mariusz, costs so much that you could have 2 Moto Guzzis for the price of a Multistrada. You could probably have 2 Moto Guzzis, panniers, and even them. A nice trip.
Exactly.
It's really incredible.
I mean, if I knew someone who bought that Multistrada, once a month I'd swap with them just to do something stupid and then give it back. It's like drinking Coca-Cola. You drink it and think you'll never do it again, but then a month later you go for it once more. And it's the same with McDonald's.
Once again,
A little hamburger.
exactly, that's how it is for me. I thought this would be the easiest test of my life, because the first thing I noticed when I set off, I'm talking about the Multistrada, that the riding position is very similar, although the handlebars seem to be a bit farther away. When I was riding, my arms were almost completely straight the whole time, and they kind of force you to sit up straight, which is kind of funny. Anyway, I thought this would be my easiest test, because I got on it and it sounds very similar. You feel it, and I thought, okay, this is a Multistrada, and the only difference is that it has 2 more cylinders, and that's it. And because of that, the quick shifter works better, the traction control works better, everything is just smoother. But that's not true. This motorcycle is still a Multistrada, but it already has a different character. Look, he popped a wheelie. He didn't just twist the throttle and have a straight through exhaust.
But the 125 doesn't sound any worse.
It actually sounds even better. Anyway, still a Multistrada, but it's completely different when it comes to both handling and the engine. And for example, when it comes to stunts, being a total idiot, here is not really the case anymore. That was already kind of forced. You know, it's harder.
Yeah, but wasn't the V2 more aggressive in delivering power?
Actually, no.
No?
No, because it revved up more slowly. And before the power kicked in, that torque would already push you forward, so you didn't have to rev it high. But this one revs so eagerly that you constantly want to push it. And when it finally revs out, it's just insane. That's exactly the point. And it's the same when it comes to doing wheelies, that one it would just go brrr and keep going, you know. But here, it's more like R. You see, well, it's manageable. I mean, not many people will really want to ride it like that, but I didn't feel like this motorcycle wanted me to do that to it, so I just didn't do it.
So is this something that replaces bikes like the Hayabusa and the ZZR 1400?
Yes, it's a motorcycle.
For example, it offers this. That's just brilliant. You just click.
Passenger seat heating.
Seat heating for the passenger and the rider. I rode it in a downpour.
Yeah.
I got off the bike and I was dry.
Because here too, aerodynamics are quite important. And I have to objectively say, this bike is good looking.
I mean, in my opinion, it looks like a typical Polish guy who goes to the gym a lot. All bulked up here. I mean, I don't look like that because I'm fat everywhere, but here it's all muscle. And then these skinny little legs.
Yeah.
Everything's up front here and it's got panniers, but if you took the panniers off, it would look really skinny in the back.
But the seat is low. Anyone can ride this bike. It's funny, when you turn it on, when you change modes, you can hear the preload adjusting in the back. It goes bzz, 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 bzz. And with those panniers, I also feel like when I was riding this motorcycle, we were just on the expressway. And it was constantly, you know...
Yeah, you can see it, they're weaving.
They're weaving all the time.
The Moto Guzzi with its top case certainly does it a lot.
Well, all motorcycles with panniers do that. So it's strange that these panniers aren't the floating type or something.
One of the Japanese brands introduced that.
But I think...
maybe on the Tracer 9?
I'm not sure if KTM didn't have that too. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, it would be better without the panniers, but I also think that's thanks to the frame, because look here, there's no frame at all, right here. All of this is plastic. Look, it even moves here. See this cover? It's supposed to look like a cylinder, but it's just plastic. The frame is only here. There's only a frame here, and there's no frame here. And it is all attached to the engine, just like in the Panigale racing car. How funny. Look how funny the brake pump is. Look, do you see?
Hidden. You do silhouette and custom hides the pumps. Well, only those kinds of people learn from him.
In my opinion, this is a racing adventure motorcycle.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
If someone were to suggest that the BMW GS motorcycle is exceptionally fast for adventurous off-road riding, they would be quite mistaken. This one is ultra fast.
It's too fast, and at the same time, well, it's a racing adventure bike. Really makes no sense. I actually kind of like it.
For smart riders?
Yes. So, not for us. I really want to compare this motorcycle. And above all, I want to take it. Mariusz, let's go somewhere far on bikes like this and see. Because the truth is, and that's why I say these are just first impressions, this motorcycle has only been with us for a week. The weather was bad, we rode it a few times, but really we just did a short loop around the neighborhood. You only really learn more about this motorcycle once you actually get on it and just ride and keep riding. And I hope we'll get to that because the season is about to start.
That's the most important thing. I was disappointed with the previous Multistrada when I rode to the seaside in the cold autumn because it had a heated grips button.
And it didn't work, it didn't heat up.
And I kept pressing it both ways, thinking the fuse must be broken. I mean, it's impossible that a bike like that doesn't have heated grips, and it didn't. But this one does.
I think this one does.
Yeah.
All right, let's go pick up our scooter. In a moment, if you look for another video, it will be...
Post-war era for scooters.
Yeah, but we're about to pick up the scooter now. There will probably be something about it too.
Bye.